All right, let me go ahead and share my screen. I'll show y'all what I was working on today and what I actually just want to finish within the next hour or so. All right. You should be able to see my screen. I'll go ahead and pull this up. I only have the mobile version built. I wouldn't even consider this really built. But it's pretty quick. So basically, what I'm building is I'm building a landing page that has everything. That's basically the centralized location for everything. So this is actually a project I'm working on. I've been working on for like the last 3 months. This is my main project. So this one is just up here for beginner engineers, and then you can see I want to include the project. So even Ivan, you got your project going. You're taking it seriously. So if it's something you want to add, so people can find it easier, that sort of thing, definitely let me know. I just want to have like an image, a name. This I'm sure is gonna change. I've never been too big on the marketing stuff. Short little description, and then the technology stack used on that project for people who want to get involved. For these projects right now, it just brings you straight to the GitHub. I don't know if it would be better to go to a landing page first with like architectural diagrams or more visuals, and then have an option of like visit the GitHub, um, visit the Jira,
Put
or
all that stuff on the GitHub.
yeah, yeah. Um, and then a couple other projects. Ones that I haven't even talked about yet at all. I have a couple other ones, so some of them will just be coming soon, and then just some social media links. Um, so a centralized location. I think it'd be really cool too to even pull in like the contributors, that sort of thing, and just have like little avatar circle sort of thing, just to give a little bit more information. But yeah, so eventually this join project will probably bring you to another page that has one, the GitHub, um, a better description. Oh, it's crashing already. um, and just some more information, that sort of thing. There was one other thing I wanted to add. Um, Technology stack. Um, I don't know. Talk about it later. So this is basically what I'm gonna work on. I'm just gonna do some finishing touches on this. Um, I don't even think I've discussed. We don't even know the technology stack for this other stuff. So I just want to make sure everything's working the way I want it to work, and then we'll go from there. So,
Cool.
and then Aditya, I know you were working. You were kind of like jumping between projects every night. What are you interested in working in? Where what are you doing?
What I'm doing currently is basically just learning React.
Hmm.
Uh, but yeah, uh, I want to build something from the UI side. Want to work on it.
Hmm.
So if there's a project which is like more from the UI side, I can work on it.
Okay. And you're talking about actually like styles and designs, or like JavaScript side?
Uh, I mean, I'm fine with anything because I want to be better in both, so anything is fine. But I would say from like the styles I want to get better, like not just basic CSS, but something where like how you like use a framework in React for styling. Not framework, but like something I'm currently learning styled components, so I want to like get better at it, like how to use them and all.
Hmm. What made you
But yeah,
choose style components over like Tailwinds or another design system?
uh, I want to like I wanted to try at least one. Style components is like something like a very, it's like when you start React, the first thing which they say is like style components like is something which is like aligned with React, they say.
Hmm.
But later on, I was going to get into this as well, Tailwind CSS and all, or like using like a framework like Material UI or like Chakra UI, or like when I go to Next.js, let's say Next UI. That's what's the latter part for me. Currently, what I did was like I actually like know like I did a in-depth study practical thing with like how to use CSS, pure CSS with HTML and JS. But I want to just go one layer up in how to use in React, and like in style components, like I feel like that's something which is very closer to like just writing CSS
Hmm.
than like directly going to learn a framework
Yeah, yeah. I like style components. You're basically just writing CSS in the React, right?
in a JS format.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I like style components. Cool, cool. All right, I don't have everything as far as the projects we have going on right now. They're using NextUI and Tailwind, even this one NextUI and Tailwind. Um, so I don't have anything style components wise.
I was actually thinking, I mean, if like just like a project idea, new project idea, if anyone wants to do, or like I can do it parallelly in a separate breakout room. But I wanted to like try doing like small project ideas, like basic small ideas in React.
Gotcha, gotcha. All right, cool. I mean, we have such a small number of people today that we could just hang out in the same co-working space anyways. I don't see the problem with that. If there was like, because Aditya, if you're working on your own thing, I'm working on my own thing, Kevin's working on his alarm, Ivan's working on his own thing, like everybody's working on their own thing. So it's not like there's going to be teams talking about ideas, you know, it's just like independently sort
Got
of.
it.
That's what it seems like. um Kev, you mentioned just throw it all in GitHub. What do you mean by that? You're muted. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I was out of the room for a sec.
Oh, you said a couple minutes ago, you said just throw it all in GitHub. What'd you mean by that?
Uh, all the diagrams and stuff you were talking about,
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's an option. That's what I did
they're
for the
really just
repair
links,
site.
right?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I did here for the repair one. I have like just a basic diagram in the README so people could understand it a little bit better. Um, yeah, yeah, definitely. As far as like what's gonna be included on this site and what's gonna be included in GitHub, I'm not really totally positive. I only want to have this so I could have like a nice user-friendly thing for newer people slash intermediate people and just like a centralized spot for everything, including open source projects. I'll add more stuff later, but I got you with the diagrams. Um, all right, so I know there's a couple things I want to do here. I just want to. I think we're this. I don't even want to use these many different technologies. I want to stick with the Rust and the Redis just to switch it up and have some different technologies for people to work on. And then, and then if anyone was interested in working on repairs, just on the side, if you come in here and you see, go to app, go to page, you can see I'm kind of like I'm adding more comments in here just so people could get a better idea of what we're building here. Um, I simplified everything and I made it better for SEO. So if you come to actually devices, so we have this page here. This component is a server-side component. It just renders the different device. I'll actually pull it up. Aditya, did you check this out?
What?
The repair one?
No, I didn't yet pull it. I did pull, but I did only the first version, not the latest version.
I'm gonna just show
I
you
can pull
how.
it now.
I'm just not even the code. I'm just talking about. I'm gonna show you the updates that I made. But
Oh,
as far as the code goes, I just added like tons of comments, so when I create these issues, people know what kind of stuff that needs to be added to each different component. So lots of notes, lots of comments. But this is basically what I switched it up to. Mobile repair. I sort of just extracted out
hmm.
the vacuum cleaner and I just put the largest appliances that most likely every single home has one.
Hmm.
Actually, I meant to remove sewing machines. So like all these are among the most common
Oh,
of things. Like
so
everybody
this
has this. Everybody
okay.
has
So
these things.
that data is just to basically show it as a view only, right? They are not clickable, right?
No, not these. You go here though,
Yeah.
and you go to
You
the
know, the
devices.
best way
So
to do that
this
is
is your data.
uh, I can suggest you like one way which will make it like look much better. If you go back,
Here.
so instead of putting these names, you could use like small icon images,
Mm.
like
Yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely.
vacuum cleaner image, like in circles, and it's like a bubble effect you can give, it's like bubble thing going on, like small bubbles are there of the different object. It makes it look like visually it attracts people rather
Yeah,
than terms.
yeah, I like that. That's a really good idea. As long as the pictures are clear and people could tell what they are.
Yeah, so that's
Yeah.
why.
Yeah.
So instead
Yeah.
of images, icons, I said icons are like,
Yeah, icons. It'd be more like cartoons.
yeah. So icons makes it like, just like for example vacuum cleaner, just a vacuum cleaner icon device, like that's a vacuum cleaner. It can't be anything else. Or like a
Yeah,
computer, it's a computer. It can't be anything else.
yeah, yeah, yeah. All right, cool. I really like that idea. So I'll go ahead and add those comments in there as well.
Although, it'd be nice to put the words in a hover.
Yeah, yeah, right. You hover it and you know what's that. Okay, that's a good
Um,
way of like, yeah.
that also supports blind users.
True, true. You can add a title attribute to any HTML element that'll make it say what it is when you hover. But then, so we come over to, if we come over to, remember how you created that data with the requests?
Hmm.
So you can
Yeah.
see I'm basically doing the same thing. I'm just calling it right inside the server component, getting the devices. This is the function you created. And then I'm mapping over the devices, and each one of them is a link. So when you navigate here, you can see all the different ones. You click it, brings you to the manufacturers. You click on one of the manufacturers, shows you a couple of the different models. You click the model, it brings you to the diagnosis form. I just need to fix this. Can't resolve serviceable sign up. I know what that is. All right, no worries. Yeah, just didn't even get that far yet, but all right, cool. So just want to share that with everybody. Anton, he made a pull request, so we'll let him break this down for us tomorrow. He basically just put the entire application in a Docker container for the same reasons, Ivan. You put yours in the Docker container, and then he added Postgres. He suggested that we move over to Postgres ASAP and isolate the database from the actual application so we're not storing user data on our server, essentially.
I can do that. I
I
mean
thought
that.
about that and it, sorry, what was
No,
that?
I was saying that I can do that. I mean, I was just saying that I can do that, like moving the data and then connecting it through the database.
Yeah, you guys are using ORMs, right?
Didn't get you. Can you repeat? Sorry.
Are you guys using ORM, right?
Yeah, Prisma.
Yeah, Prisma. Yeah, I see the icon right there. Yeah, I'm gonna be using the Entity Framework from .NET. But man, it's so hard because Entity Framework is meant to be used with OOP, C Sharp, and I'm using functional programming. So I believe that I will have to do a class library for just for that to deal with the data. But I like the idea that you guys are abstracting the database logic.
Yeah, yeah. He said it wasn't a good idea to keep user data on our actual server that's serving like web pages, which it makes sense, especially with user data, you know. If it was
But
just
Yep.
if it was if
like
it was not user data, then I wouldn't care. But
And when you look at the amount of time the code base spends looking at the database, only a fraction of that is getting user data.
yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, it is a small piece of the database. It's literally just the customer schema,
I
right?
mean,
The customer.
it's important to the code, but you don't spend a lot of time on it.
No, no, we really don't. Um, yeah, because if we look at our schema now, yeah, it's just this. It's just this information we don't want people to have access to, as far as like diagnosis and questions and even appointments. I think is kind of sketchy to have, you know, because then people could kind of like, I don't know, people know where you are or when you scheduled something, times, that sort of thing. So that this is closely related to customers. But yeah, with Prisma, we should be good to go. If you look at the schema, you can see we could just change this SQLite to Postgres, and then yeah, should be good to go. Pretty simple.
Have to add a login for it, but
yeah. Do you know like what Postgres server you're gonna use?
Let's see if he
I
has
think
any
Heroku
detail.
Heroku has a Postgres server like an online Postgres server.
So
Oh,
right,
wait,
so
wait.
right now we haven't even thought about production. So basically, what our conversation was we have that
Okay,
the Node 22
image.
Alpine image for the Next.js application, and we have the Postgres 16 Alpine
Okay.
image
Yeah.
for the database for development. And so any data that's stored in the database is actually going to be stored on people's local computers. So like when I run the application on my computer, I'm gonna have database information on my computer, and there's like some way for you to channel. I think it's called a volume, maybe, and it
yeah, it's kind of
allows.
like a virtual drive.
Yeah, so it connects to the container and allows you to access the data essentially. For now,
Yeah,
for
that
development,
works.
we'll have as far as like production goes. No, we haven't even talked about that yet.
Okay. But the Docker file is not yet created, right?
Yes, it is. We have
Okay. What's the branch? Is it the same branch or like it's a different branch?
no, so we're gonna merge this in with the master branch, but right now it's just a pull request. I kind of wanted him to go over and just explain everything before merging it.
Oh, okay, okay. You're not yet merged it.
I
Okay.
haven't merged it yet, so it's just a pull request waiting to be merged.
Oh, okay, okay,
Has
okay.
has Docker got more efficient in the last year or so?
I think it requires like 4 GB of RAM at least, or
Because I
yeah,
ran it on 8 a couple of years ago and it dogged my computer down. I had to
Ye-
put in 16.
yeah. It
Yeah, yeah.
says it requires
Docker is
4.
fast. Docker is fast now. Yeah, I mean, like I've been using Docker for a while, like now, and it's very fast. Like it doesn't take much time. But it also depends on you can't actually like if you have a local Docker setup, you can't be having like heavy applications containerized. If you want to have like big applications containerized, then you need to have an external like like Docker platform like
Yeah.
OpenShift and all. But for local run, yeah, if it's the application is very small like this, then Docker locally is very fast. It doesn't take much time.
Hmm. Okay. Yeah, it should be good. Um, all right,
Yeah,
so we'll let him
I'll
break this down for us tomorrow or later. But all right, cool. Yeah, I'm gonna work more on this too. This one has a lot. There's a lot of fun stuff to do on this one, man. This is a fun project. So, but I want to switch them up, man, because I honestly I don't want every project to have the same technologies, despite my knowledge being limited. You know, Like I know there's certain things I don't know. Like you and I talked about it in detail with Myriad. Like why would we use Rust and Redis when these are things that we're not too familiar with? It's just an opportunity to learn, man. And I think it could potentially attract people who already know these languages to contribute. And what better way to learn than by connecting with people who already know this stuff, you know?
Yeah, but the thing is now, the problem is, this is something which I've noticed, when I've talked to like few interviewers as well. Like they told me that when you put, because ultimately people are going to put this project in their portfolio, right?
Maybe
So
some people, yeah. Because if you look at this, any beginner engineers, they're gonna be coming to my platform that I've been working on for a few months now. Like I'm ready to done. I
yeah,
probably got like 2 more months, so it's not gonna be anytime soon. But all beginner people here,
yeah,
intermediate and expert people are gonna be contributing to these projects here potentially and hopefully.
but
So are they
yeah,
going to be adding stuff to their resume? Sure, but if somebody's contributing on a project that's built with Rust and Redis and the technologies that we're not too familiar with, it gives them an opportunity to contribute on a project that they are
yeah.
familiar with, that they will add to their portfolio, and that will benefit them in interviews.
And
So in
if
that,
somebody wants to take an app to an interview, they really should write the whole thing themselves.
yeah, but that's what another thing is, like in the interview, if you put Rust, let's say if you have so many different technologies in that project, the problem is the interviewer would ask you like, why did you use Rust? And you can't tell that like we wanted something different.
Why?
No, no, that's a wrong. Like, why specific? Why are you using so many technologies? That's a wrong approach towards software development
Because
sometimes.
I've
In some,
mastered React, I've mastered Node, I've mastered Next, I've mastered
but
TypeScript, I've
you're
mastered
thinking from
Postgres, and I'm trying to learn more. I'm not happy just coding in the
no, no.
languages that I
So
already
for
know.
learning,
I'm always trying to get better. And so this was an opportunity for me to learn a language that's powerful at the systems level, and a
to
technology that's
learn.
super popular like Redis, and learning it through building a real world project. And I did it. What other questions do you like? That
No,
if
but
somebody
like
told me that, I'd be like, they like to learn. They're self motivated. They're driven. They're
yeah, but like
ambitious.
if you're learning something, like why are so if you use that when you talk about Rust or like Go or like those kind of languages, like or Rust, and you could say like something which aligns with Rust, you need to, like, if you're choosing a project, you need to choose a project which basically aligns with Rust. You can't just like use Rust. So I mean that's something which I have noticed. It's my personal opinion because I've talked with like a lot of, when I worked with company, like my managers, they like, that's the thing which, like, when an engineer who works in a company, he needs to know that when he's using a technology, learning is one thing, but use that technology in such a way you should be able to justify in right way that why are you specifically using Rust for this technology, like what
Yeah,
benefit you got when you,
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
if you're using Rust, use an idea which aligns with Rust more effectively, and then write a project, then you can justify as well
So
that okay.
what do you think would be? You don't think that Myriad would be a good project? The back end, the algorithm that um,
so
connects people
so
in
when
real
you
time.
talk
That's
about
sort of
like,
like executing on a every second or every minute or every 10 minute, kind of like on a steady interval. Something that's executing on a steady
so
interval. I
yeah,
mean,
so if you remember, like the Rust thing which we were suggesting was for that project where uh it was like a booking system. Yeah, right. Yeah, same. So in this, that booking thing, for that, I feel like it should be more like a parallel processing job, like a like a parallel processor, which will basically do the parallel processing, and you could think about using like some functional programming which will be very quick because you don't have to use like a entire big framework or like a large language. You can use some functional programming logic, like for example, like I don't know if you've heard about Spark.
no.
So Apache Spark is a technology.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So that uses, like, you can either write it using Scala or Java. There are like two languages which which works with Spark. This is good for doing like very like fast processing, like when you have like multiple processes to do them parallelly and very quickly. So this is the right technology for that thing. So if someone tells you that okay, I'm using this Spark, you can justify because I need to have it, and they won't even ask if you're using Spark for that because that's the right technology for that situation.
Is it right because it's what the industry standard is, and that's what they would use it as a corporation, or
For
is
large
it?
scale, yeah, large scale, this should be the right one.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, I got it.
I mean, when you talk about like industries, like from since I've interviewed like few companies, like I mean, I've talked with like a lot of engineers who are like in Amazon and Google and Microsoft. From them, I understood that like even if you try to want to invent something new, the thing is, you need to think not just about putting new technology, but also need to think like how that technology is going to get incorporated in a company. You need to have lot of things to think. You can't just bring in a new technology in it. Like you need to think like, okay, what are the benefits of using that technology in that project? Why that specific project? Why that specific technology there?
Is that
Could there
Apache Spark? That's a programming language, or that's a tool?
it's basically a framework. It's a tool actually, but it's a streaming platform. It's a parallel processing platform. It's like an entire what do you get? I don't know if you what do you call it, that Hadoop? What is it's a framework, right? It's a parallel processing framework.
Yeah. And can you just break down parallel processing versus what's the other one? I mean, I use Node, so I'm familiar with asynchronous.
No, no. So parallel processing, it's asynchronous only, but the thing is, you have multiple nodes parallelly processing the tasks, and it's more like you can still do it using Rust with
What do
threads.
you mean by multiple nodes?
So it's like, let's say if you have a particular job, okay? Now, when you have that one job, big job, if it can be broken down into independent tasks. For example, in this particular algorithm which we had, so uh, it's like there are like certain things which can be done independently. It doesn't have to be dependent on each other.
Right. Like on a GPU, a lot of times you're going to run the same operation, but each little node gets a different chunk of the data.
Correct, to process. And then ultimately you combine that together to get the final result.
And what do you mean by node, though? Are you breaking
Nodes
up
as in
this
like
task
not
across
not the
Cores,
node
multiple
language,
computers?
processing
server.
cores,
Server, I would say.
or they might be virtual processing cores.
Yeah, virtual processing, a virtual server.
All right, so got you. So
So
you're
those virtual servers are used basically where every server gets a chunk of thing to process parallelly, and then finally they combine it together. It's like, I don't know if you know in JavaScript we have map and reduce.
yeah.
So map and reduce is basically the term used here, map reduce. So map is basically you map it in different servers, and reduce means it's combine it into one single result.
Yeah, yeah, I know what you're saying. So this is a tool that takes your task, spreads it among multiple computers, and processes it for you, right?
You can search Hadoop. Hadoop is like the heart. It's like heart of the Spark. Like it's like the framework which is used by Spark. So this Hadoop is very vast. There are like lot of different features, but this one which I told, like parallel processing, is one of the features of Hadoop. You can see distributed processing of large data sets.
Yeah, and if you're going for parallel, you want speed, and so your little bit of code has to be hyper efficient.
Yeah. So code, yeah, that in that case, the code which you write needs to be really good. Like that's the reason functional programming is much better in this case rather than object oriented, because it's kind of just a main functional logic. It's not like you are building like multiple classes and all. That's why functional programming goes well with this.
Yeah,
I can see that.
I like functioning in general.
Yeah.
I've had trouble seeing use for functional programming, but I'm seeing it more often now.
Yeah. When you have like, we just have to worry about a particular task and not think about how to scale it in terms of the objects and the entities, then functional programming works well there.
Gotcha, gotcha. So okay, okay. So you're saying Apache Hadoop or Apache Spark.
Apache Spark uses Apache Hadoop as a framework, from what I know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's like how
But
Express
yeah,
is built
I mean,
on
this
top
is
of
like one of the technology. That's what I'm saying. Like we could, there are like multiple things which we can think about as well. But that's what I'm saying. Like when you said Rust, I used to think, why Rust exactly? Like, what is going to like Rust do in that situation? So that's the first thing which should come. Like,
because if you build an efficient algorithm, it's a fast programming language. It's systems level. It has direct access to the metal. So it has direct access to the RAM, which if we're running Rust on one computer with a Redis server running, that Rust code executing that algorithm very efficiently, hopefully O of N tops, and constantly updating the memory, which is sending real time updates to the users,
yeah.
that would be
We
a good
can,
solution.
yeah. So we can still go with Rust if you want, but is just that the first question whenever you like that's the question. If someone asks you like why using Rust, you should be ready with like thinking not just from like learning perspective, also how that like language is benefiting the project.
Mm-hmm.
That should actually, when you answer, that should be the first thing to say. You shouldn't say that your learning should be a secondary answer. The first answer is why Rust in this particular project. So you
Yeah,
should be able to
yeah.
justify that why you're using Rust for this specific idea.
Yeah,
How it-
I got you. You're coming from the perspective of maximizing the results of interviews.
Results of interviews also like in general as well. When you work in a company as well, you don't think about you think about the use case and then you apply technology to it. That's the wrong mindset when you first think of a technology and then find a use case to it.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
shouldn't be.
yeah. That's like people who design a solution and they look for a problem to fit their solution.
Yeah. My manager has guided me a lot in that. He
Yeah.
always tells that there are like a lot of people in industries who first find a technology. Companies do that. They want to go into new technologies for like show off, and then they find a use case how to can fit. So that's not the right way of actually engineering.
So if you were gonna go, can you do Haskell with this?
Uh, Pascal is very old, right?
Can you do Haskell with it? It's pure functional, because you said functional.
Haskell, you're saying, right?
Yeah.
I've never heard Haskell actually.
Really?
Yeah.
It's not recommended for new designs.
Yeah. It's a declarative language.
What about C?
C would go well because C is like it's very fast. Oh, and also it supports multi-threading, right?
But why would you use C over Rust when Rust is just as fast as C, but it handles memory for you?
So you can use C Rust as well. I mean, it depends. Like, I mean, I'm not saying that you shouldn't use Rust. I've never used Rust, so I don't know that. But yeah, if Rust is well equipped with fast programming and it can handle multi-threading really well, then go for Rust.
All right,
I
fine.
I read somewhere. Sorry to interrupt you. Is that Rust is cool and it comes with all those extra features that a lot of programmers from C and C++ wanted to have all the time to avoid memory leaks and things like that. But it has a trade-off when it comes to compile time. It's very slow, and that's generally the complaint that I usually hear from Rust. Plus, I agree with. Oh my God, I don't see the name of who was the one arguing like in terms of perspective when you're explaining why you're using a technology. It was a noob or
I think Aditya, right?
Aditya was. Yeah,
Yeah.
so Aditya, he was saying that it's not only for the sake of interview that you should like say why am I using this technology, but one of the trades-off is that think about the future. You don't have a lot of Rust programmers, and if you want someone to join this project, you are gonna have less people like to join to your project because there's less Rust programmers out there. Compared to if you do the backend, for example, in Java, you're gonna have plenty of people that do Java. They teach that in school
So-
still, so
So
You can
finance
have-
companies do that.
True,
Finance
true.
companies do that. Finance companies, when you go in those companies, in fintech companies like Morgan Stanley or JP Morgan, they won't like they'll basically hire only Java developers. They won't hire people with new languages
Yeah.
because there's all systems are built with Java, and they don't want to use new languages as soon as possible. So that's another thing.
Yeah, so when you talk about like having support, is not the same like someone coding in Deno, for example, or Node.js. With Deno, it's probably very like a lot of people could jump right into it because it's still JavaScript. But I'm pretty sure that you're gonna find more Node.js developers out there than Deno, for example. So it's the same. I'm taking the same risk as you, Jim, because not a lot of people know F sharp. But I'm pretty sure that F sharp is super easy to pick up because it's just like coding like Python or Haskell. It's just very like variables and functions everywhere, throwing that everywhere. So also I want to practice F sharp, so I'm not looking at this like as a enterprise level monetary thing to do. So if I would think it that way, I would go with C sharp or an OOP approach because I know that it's gonna be a lot easier to find a developer to work on the project if I use C sharp compared to F sharp. So I hear what you say, Aditya.
Yeah.
The enterprise level, they care a lot more about
Yeah.
enterprise level languages.
So we can still like I'm fine with going Rust because I'm there's nothing wrong, like nothing
Mhm.
lose to learn something new. So I'm
Mhm.
not saying that like, I can still go with Rust or like any language, even like F sharp, if you want. But
Yeah.
it's just that I want to like just to bring up that point, like since if any one of you guys are like interviewing for companies and all, but this is something which I have noticed when like interviewing for companies because recently I try to like I give like few interviews, so I know like what their mindset is and what they think from perspective. But in case that would be helpful for you guys when you are interviewing for companies, that what to exactly say. I mean,
Yeah. That makes sense.
Hey guys, someone who knows a little bit of Docker, I think I need a little bit of help. I'm not a Docker pro, but for some reason I cannot access the apps, the ports that I hosted. So if somebody can help me out with that, I would really appreciate it.
Yeah, if you want to
yeah,
go ahead and share your screen, that'd be cool. I'll stop sharing. You could go ahead share your screen, and I'd like to learn along. I'm gonna go ahead and just start coding up some of this stuff that I wanted to work on, but I'm gonna be paying attention to what you guys are doing too.
Yeah, let me just share my screen real quick. My computer is acting up a little bit.
All good.
In 1 second, guys. That Discord is a little slow.
I'm gonna share the link.
Let me share it.
I'm gonna share a live share link in case anyone wants to hop into my code editor. While they're getting this Docker container up and running, though, let's just communicate in comments so they could do their thing. Comments in the code editor, I mean, because that's where I'll be looking.
Can you guys see my screen right now?
yes,
Okay, so as you can see, I call it my place, and I got backend one and client one, and my code editor. This is my Docker Compose. I am running the client right here, and I'm
Okay.
running the backend right here. So what I have in the folder structure is I have the backend. Let me put a little small. The client using Vite and the backend using F Sharp and .NET. So inside of the .NET, at the backend I have the server, which has the actual API server, and this is a class library that doesn't have a lot to it. I'm planning to do integration testing with that, but it's nothing going on. This is my Docker ignore. I'm just ignoring obj and bean, so I don't get all those heavy folders of compiled program into the Docker. And this is the Docker file for the backend. Basically, use .NET SDK Software Development Kit 8. The working directory in Linux is /app. Then I'm copying the .NET project files and restore the dependencies because since I have my project inside of the .NET folder, I have to do it this way. And then I'm restoring the F Sharp project, and you can see that everything got hosted in port 5000. This is the back end, and this is the front end in port 3000. But when I try to access both of them, it looks like I cannot access. those. It's not like something I can do right now. So
Can you check the Docker logs and see?
Docker logs.
I mean,
So
you can do it from here, but there's also like command. So you have a container ID, right? You can see there's a container ID. No,
where
no,
is
they are
that right here?
yeah, you can see there like there is a yeah, and then just go to your terminal,
Mm-hmm.
open a new terminal. Just type Docker space PS for now. Docker space PS. PS.
SPS.
PS.
Uh-huh. PS.
Yeah, just type enter. This will show you your containers which are running now. So you can see your client and your backend is running. Now just do Docker space logs.
Base logs.
No, space. Docker logs.
Oh,
Logs. And then put a space, yeah. And then paste the container ID. Yeah,
Jesus Christ. Is,
press
is that the
enter.
container?
Yeah. Press enter. Okay. So
You
testing.
can see I'm running the port on 5,000. You see?
Uh,
But
need to
I can tell you that it wasn't hit. Like I didn't get the.
Yeah, that I understood. I'm just saying. Can you go back to your browser?
Interesting that if I go to port 80, so for example, right here, just localhost is port 80. I'm hitting the, even though this is not what I was expecting, at least it's finding the server, the .NET server. You
Is your
see?
URL? What is your URL?
I'm sorry, the URL is localhost.
Can you zoom in
port
just a
80.
little bit?
Oh, it's very
Yeah.
it's very it's not clear, right, to everyone. Like it's
Yeah, it's blurry.
Yeah, it's just that I don't know if I can zoom in the URL though.
okay.
Mm.
Can you paste that URL on the chat?
Yeah, sure. This is the URL that I'm doing right here. And what it is targeting is just, if I go to server program, it's just this sub route API health. And I'm supposed to get a JSON with a message of APIs in Google Health.
How did you do the port, like the port forwarding? Did you run what command you used to run the Docker?
So this is the one that I used, just Docker compose build, and then Docker compose up.
Oh yeah, okay. You're forwarding
And I'm forwarding the port like 5,000 right there.
okay, yeah. Go back to your browser, and in the browser, just like just go back to where that 5,000. Just type 5,000 back, and
Yeah.
open your network tab and just see like what exactly it's showing. Yeah. Just see like what exactly it is printing. What status code error it is.
Let me just click health.
Yeah, just open that first line. What exactly it is giving as the error, the status code.
Can you see that well
Yeah.
right there?
Okay, so you call API. No cache. Go to response. Okay. I mean it. I'm just seeing like why don't I see like go to headers only? Why don't I see the response, the header? Like what exactly is it, like 500 or is it like 403? Oh, okay. Document failed. Oh, there's a failed. Yeah, just click on the status. Yeah, what's the error? Failed. Can you like I don't know how can you enlarge it?
Let me see if I can find what you mean.
There should be a response header as well. Yeah, response header. Like responded.
Yeah, we got
Nothing.
0.
It's empty.
Okay. Because
You know what's weird? That if I try to hit 80, just localhost, it's giving me the .NET. This is coming from .NET. You see?
Okay.
But actually, never mind, because it looks like it's going to the IIS. So that's probably no, yeah, that's just IIS. Ignore that.
Okay. Yeah.
It doesn't.
Yeah. I mean, it
not
shouldn't
only-
be. It's not what you were doing because you have never mentioned AT port anywhere, like not even forwarding. So that shouldn't be what you are doing. But I'm just seeing like why is it like it should be running like Docker logs are not the problem. Testing app localhost not now listening to okay, and then app server content root path. Yeah, all these are like .NET logs like is this
Yeah.
okay. But are these the same logs which you usually see when you run it on local without Docker?
Yeah. So, for
Okay.
example, I added this log statement recently in the .NET. So I put this log right there, and you could see that the testing app.
Hmm.
It is right there in the server. So I'm pretty. You see it right here.
Hmm.
It is logging. However, it's not listening. Like it's not forwarding the port.
Okay,
You were right.
Try doing don't do okay don't do try doing like don't do localhost, try doing like 0.0.0.0.
Ah, that's a good idea. So where do you want me to do that? In the Docker file?
No, try, actually it could be done in your where is your source of your .NET, the source where you have
Oh,
basically
yeah. So the configuration of the port. This one right here.
yeah I mean just try doing
So
it
should
0.
I do it?
Yeah, and just try running it again. Try
Let me just.
that
Well, take-
localhost mapping sometimes causes an issue.
Yes.
Sometimes I think there is a hostname file in your Windows which has that mapping. But I usually
I
don't
hope-
recommend changing it there.
It looks like it is doing something better now because it didn't take that long last time.
Yeah, yeah. That's
So you-
don't go with that. That's like that's a good thing, relief, but no, that's not that that gives you happiness for a while.
It was probably just having some catching. So maybe listening on port 0. Let's see. No. So let me just try to access this thing. Oh, this is 3,000. Let me put 5,000
Oh,
API. Oh, there you go.
yeah,
That was the problem.
yeah.
Yeah. So I was wondering why. So you see that I'm hosting both the client
Hmm.
and the server. So actually, I didn't get the logs from the client, probably because I didn't have any changes in the client. But my client is this one, and it's still localhost. Do you think that it is the same issue?
I think so.
If I go to my Vite configuration, probably the server is on port, but I can just add the host.
But why is your target 5,000? But why is your target 5,000 in this? In line number 12, you have put target localhost 5,000.
Yeah, so I haven't configured this because now I need to figure out how can I hit the outside API.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. This is for the outside API. Oh, okay. No worries.
Yeah, so this is for the back end because this is the front end.
Got it. Yeah, try doing it. I mean, that should be the
So
issue, but yeah.
maybe adding the host is gonna do the trick. Let's see how that goes. You see how interesting this is, like for any developer coming to the project, like they're just gonna have to build and and run and start developing. It's
Yeah.
magic.
Do you have a README, like a clear README for a
I
contribution?
do have a read. yeah, I do have a README, but still need a voluntary person who likes to write a lot
Yeah.
because this is not saying a lot. Like this is the way that I was having it before. Like you had a CD client, NPI installing that. So because I decided to go Docker, we're not gonna need all of these steps anymore. It's just install Docker, run your project.
Yeah. Yeah.
So let's see now if I just do the compose up, recreate it. Oh, I
Yeah,
got network here.
try running that. That's the IP address of your system, I think. But that should also work.
Yes, it works. It does work. Like this is some really good news for me right here. Even though the dot slash is not liking it, it's not a problem anymore. Probably because it's targeting something failed to resolve import dot. Did I copy the entire project? Let me see the Docker file. Yeah, I'm copying the entire thing. But that actually worked because it compiled. And I'm having all of the logs right here, which is super cool. Like I don't have to go anywhere else, just having the project. Hey, do you know if I change a file, that's gonna refresh right here? No?
And, Docker file is no, this Docker image is a closed box. So if you make any change there, you need to build the image again.
You are freaking kidding me.
But you can do that. What you can do is, so what you usually do is like how in like how they actually do people is like they create a script in the GitHub workflow. So if you make any change, you can do it here as well. Like whenever you make any change, you can write some task in the like to automatically run whenever you make any change in the file, and that should build the Docker image again for you.
Actually, that sounds kind of like reasonable. Like I could just do build.
Like I don't know how you do it in package.json of like automatically running anything based on any file change.
Yeah, so I could just say nodemon, which is gonna listen for files.
And the command which you ran docker compose while, just type that command here.
However, nodemon is not a. Maybe I'll just have to do two commands. I mean, just one command. I just have to say docker compose build. I might have to CD like 2 folders up because I'm having this in the client and the Docker Compose is outside. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, you need to check that. But yeah, I mean, ultimately,
Can
what
I-
I'm saying is like you
Can I
have to like.
change the file?
I don't know that. I mean, it should be possible,
You
but
don't know about this? Like, if you can target the file that you're looking for?
yeah. So you can that's the path which you mentioned where your current Docker file is, or your Docker Compose YML is. I don't think you need to mention Docker Compose YML. You can just give the path like just // that should work.
Oh, okay, let's see.
Because that Docker Compose automatically searches for the .docker compose YML file.
Yeah, that'll be cool because but
You should be able to
I
get an
think
automatic
you're
up.
right. We should have a script because Nodemon is gonna listen to JavaScript files.
Hmm.
Now you should be able to, from what I found, you should be able to automatically refresh and reload or rebuild your Docker container whenever you change a file.
Mm.
I posted a couple ways in the chat.
Yeah,
At
sure.
least that's what I found.
But yeah, that's the thing. Like, I mean, the main thing is if you make any change in the code, if you want to do that Docker Compose, you have to build everything again. Be it like manual or automatic, whatever, but you have to build it.
Yeah.
It doesn't really sound like something productive. It sounds like a production thing to do, but
Yeah, that's why you never do Docker Compose on your local. You only do it when like you make your changes. You do unit testing for your local, and when you have to push your changes, what you do is you push it to Git, and in the Git there is a script which will basically automatically convert your code into a Docker image, and then that's the deploy. Docker you only usually do it for like deploying in environments.
But I thought that Docker was so developers can work effectively without having, like, if you're on Linux and somebody else is in Mac, we can
Yeah,
just use Docker to run the project. But man, having to refresh and like rebuild the entire thing, I mean, it's pretty fast because it's catchable, right?
yeah.
But it's a pain in the butt. You know what I mean? Because I mean, what I've done in the past is, for example, I say dev server, right? And then this command, what I do is, for example, I do concurrently, and then I can just say, for example, pnpm dev, which is gonna run vit, and maybe this is coming behind this one, and then I can just do the other one, which is gonna be for example, .NET watch and then I go to the backend, then server, and that's gonna be listening to the project. So let me just kill this terminal, and here I can go to the client, pnpm add in development concurrently, and that's because I want to run two commands in parallel. That's why I need this library. Yeah, so with this command I can run both the server and the client with just one hit. I just have to say pnpm dev server, and it's gonna run the .NET and the React app at the same time.
Guys,
So
can
what was it?
I using Docker Compose on my project, and it only is build again when there is a change in the package.json. Your is not the same.
I didn't quite get it.
Well, when I do Docker Compose up, he only is build again when there is a change in the package.json. So he first see the package.json, and then he do if there is some difference.
Yeah, if there is a difference right here in the package.json, then the thing is gonna be rebuilt, or I do have to rerun it. Who's the one that need to do the running again? Me, or it is gonna do it automatically, like a hot refresh?
Automatically.
What about if I'm adding a new route or to the server? It's just with the Docker. All right.
In my project, if I change something outside from the package.json, it runs and in real time, so I don't need to build again.
Oh, yeah, I didn't know this. I used to think that
there is something about the order of the commands in the Docker file. I heard that somewhere.
okay, but I mean I feel like that I don't know, like, but from how Docker works internally, what it does, I don't know if you change anything in the file that would reflect the changes in the Docker container which is running. But yeah, try it and see if that works.
Yeah, I'll try right now. Give me 1 second. So this, and then inside I'll do .NET watch, and then go one folder up, then backend, then server, and I believe that's it. So let's see if that command is gonna run. Is the terminal big enough for you guys right there?
Yeah.
So I can just hear pnpm, oops, npm dev server, and that should run both of them. Let's see. Yeah, I run the client, but now it's saying .NET Watch could not find. Dude, that's not exposing my IP, my IP, right? Is it?
Posing your IP. Why do you have two different IPs? I don't know what IP it is referring to.
No, because I was trying to configure that in the Docker to run to work,
But
and it
why
worked.
two different IPs? That's what I'm saying. Like 192 and
Oh,
172.
that's a really good question. I'm not sure.
Can you check your IP? What's your local IP?
I don't-
Maybe it is the IP from the Docker container, the internal network.
it's probably yeah the IP from the Docker. I
Do
don't have
a
it
Docker
running.
inspector.
This should
Do a,
also be referring to only, I mean, it's your system locally, so it should only have one IP. So,
So if
like,
I remove this, now I have only 3,000. You see?
uh, okay.
Oh, the command didn't run because I didn't specify that my server the project is FS project. So I have to go to the backend right here. Where is it? The client package.json, and then here you cannot just say that. Just go to the folder. You have to say server.fs project, and that should run both the client and the server. Son of a FS project. So we are going to the backend server, and then server FS pro. It's the file. Specify which projects to use with it. Yeah.
Actually, okay, that error is basically .NET Watch, means since you made changes in the code, the Docker Compose is watching. That's the command, I think. .NET Watch.
Oh, there you go. Now you see the .NET Watch.
Yeah,
That's what
so
I
that,
have in mind.
yeah. So
Oh,
this is
now I understand why. Well, you know why that's not gonna never listen to it, because if yeah, whatever. That's my own computer though. What are you talking about? So, oh, it's because we changed it to 00000. Probably because of that is my computer is telling me, Ivan, you're trying to allow something weird. But now I'm having the API running here and the local in the running here,
Hmm.
and yeah, that's actually working. The thing is that because Docker is its own environment, I will have to open Visual Studio Code with those because everything gets cached and you don't copy the entire thing again.
Yeah. So, from what I understood, what I'm reading, your project, when you make any change in the source code, it's not like it will reflect automatically. It will still rebuild it. It will watches, it rebuilds it,
Yeah.
and then it basically. So rebuilding is still done. It's an automatic process. That's it. So when you guys said that if I make any change, does it reflect automatically? I mean, it still has to rebuild it because your Docker image which generates is generated. It's a closed box. It that the reason that's the purpose of Docker image because it doesn't get blended with any other project or it doesn't share its resources with any other project. So
Yeah.
that
Man,
so
that'll be so cool if we can make this reload on every changes locally.
Docker Compose Watch should do that automatically. If you make any
Docker
change
so
in the
compose
code,
what?
what you
yeah,
are
just
saying
just
is
just make any
when
change in the code, it should reflect automatically.
when he
Okay,
adds
let's do
some
that.
route, for example, he has to rebuild it.
Let's actually do that. I want to try that.
Yeah, just
So
Try
make any
adding
action.
some out.
you just reverse this to have the host like this, so it doesn't make weird things. And let's see if I run now my Docker. I'm in the client. Sorry, cd Docker compose build. It's gonna take the changes, right, of the code.
Yeah, but now next time when you make any change, I don't think you have to again build it.
Yeah, yeah.
Just try that. So run this. I also want to see. So let it run. Let's just test it if it works. And then just make any logic change. Like just change the message which you are returning.
Oops.
Yeah.
Yeah.
because-
Watch, right?
Don't do anything in this. Just test the app. I mean, how do you run it? Up, right? Yeah. Okay. So just test the app. See what message it is printing.
Okay, so let's just make something simple.
Yeah. Just put some message. And that message you should see. Like just save it the file and see if it picks. Yeah, it's building. See.
It should happen.
Yeah.
Yes, it just happened.
So it rebuilt.
So by the way, we don't even need concurrently anymore, because if that's gonna be refreshing like that easy, we don't have to, like, even the backend. Let me see. So if I change the backend message to say
It will work the same.
it will work,
Yes.
It will.
Wait. It let it build.
oh, let it build.
Yeah, I mean it should build. It won't like reflect. You can see in the logs. You should see some log saying that it should. It's not
This-
saying any log.
These are the logs right here. No.
The next log which you got generated, because I think you changed something. Like I think it should rebuild it. I'm not sure how. But
Mm. At least the client is refreshing, but here, I mean the command that I run is watch. Oh, this is the client. Give me 1 second. So this one. So you see that I'm saying .NET watch.
oh, so you need to write this in server. You need to write this.
I need to write this in the server.
You need to write the watch command.
That's the watch command. This one right here. No.
So this watch command is .NET or of Docker Compose?
.NET.
Oh,
Oh, I see.
So I don't even need this one. This is the same thing that I was doing in here. I'm gonna show you guys.
so you're
So
Okay,
here,
let me-
it is the
let
same
me ask
command
you
that I'm
now.
doing here. You see that I'm doing .NET watch and then mentioning the project. Do you want me to do that? Like put the project?
I don't know about .NET, but that watch a command, you have to do it again each time you do you change something.
okay. You
If
can
I have
see-
to do that, let me show you how that works in .NET.
Can you
so
go
I'm
to your
gonna
Docker
test-
Compose?
So for example, guys, if I go to my backend, what I think that Docker is not picking is that I have to do to the server, and then here I can do, for example, .NET watch, and this is what happened. It will start up the server in port 5000 right here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you make any change, it will watch, right? And it will update automatically.
It will just work. You're gonna see right now. So if I just delete this and save it, you see how it rebuilds right away.
So
That's the
okay.
hard reloading that.
So you're not using the Docker Compose watch logic. You're using the .NET watch logic. So
Yes, that's what I'm having right here.
so go to your Docker Compose file.
You see that I'm entering the server just like I did right here. See this server?
Oh, just go to your Docker Compose file. In Docker
Yes,
Compose
of course.
YML, you need to put, okay, so this path which you have given, you can see you have put the watch, the action, line number 27, that watch,
Yeah.
if any change, then do the rebuild. Now, this rebuild is not exactly happening. This action is not happening.
Oh,
So probably
yeah,
the
it's
path which
not.
you have given, that path, eh, I think that path it is not taking the path of. You need to give the path of your source code. I think
Where the server it is.
where
So
your code is, where
server.
your code is. Yeah. What files like where the files, the source files or the source code in your backend? Where are those files? Slash server.
Yeah, let me just put it like this. So it's backend and then server.
Okay. And then server.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
And,
just
okay.
server. And then this is the file that the .NET is gonna look for.
Okay, I mean just basically in this path you need to give the folder which of the files which you want the Docker to watch. So which file are you going to edit? Like your source files, right? Your code, actual logic, right?
Yeah, it's inside of the server. So this might work now. So do I need to build again?
No, what I'm saying is this path which you're giving dot slash server, in this
Yeah,
server folder, where exactly are your code files? Where your logic, your backend logic code files? In which folder?
it is.
Is it
It is directly inside of the server. You see, I'm just having a program CS with a
Okay.
route.
Then do servers like dot server, matlab that server folder in Docker YAML file. Go to your Docker YAML file. Do slash
Yes.
star. Just do slash. No,
Oh yeah.
after slash.
Start.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Just
listen everything in here. Actually, can I do it like a one folder up because I want to listen to the class library too. But you wanna test it with the server first?
doing it. Yeah, just see doing it and if it works or not.
Okay. Do I need to build or I just need to do
You
compose?
need to
Oh,
build it. You
Build
need to,
again.
you need to build it.
okay. So
You're doing a Docker compose change, right? So that you need to build.
I'm so new to the freaking Docker, but it simplifies lives because once this is good and set up, everybody here can just download the project and run.
Hmm.
So let's see. So if I
Yeah, I'd say first just test it and see if it works. Just call the API and see if it works first.
yeah, sure. Let's go. Yeah, it works.
Okay. Now make the
Pretty
change
plain.
and make the change and then just observe the logs. It should pick up. Or
Let me see the logs.
okay.
It doesn't look like it rerun again, just the way I showed you before.
Yeah. Just
So if I go to browser and see if it says test now, it
No, it's
doesn't.
not running for some reason. It's not watching it for some reason.
It's not watching right there. It means the backend source. What is the source? I know this is Linux right now, but I believe I put app in my Docker file, so it doesn't have to be the same as this one. This one? No,
I
the
don't
Docker
know.
compose is in the source.
No,
Right?
this volume is different, I think. I don't think you even have volumes.
Well,
No, right?
that
Should I
back
delete
end.
it?
No, keep it. But I don't think it might be using some internal volumes of the
That source is in your. It's outside the container.
okay.
Let me just rebuild again and see what.
The volumes, I think those are persistent volumes, right?
The volumes, the first part is the inside of the Docker container. The rest is outside.
Yeah,
If
right.
you if you want to do some persistent volumes, it's made like that. That's really cool. I once did a composer file without a database I knew, and when I want some more agents, I just run one.
Oh yeah.
So I do
Cool.
Docker
So you
Compose
have
up
all those type of
Mongoose
databases. Oh yeah. Wow.
or Docker Compose up SQL.
Oh, it restarted right there. You see? It's working now. So I just need a start after the slash to listen for every file. But man, that thing is super slow. What's going on? Let me see. So if I hit this right now, I get help. But if I put testing, it just compiled again. It's a lot slower than my machine, but whatever. Yeah, that's taking a long time. So am I ignoring this? Am I ignoring this file? Because I don't really want to take anything from object. I hope it is ignoring this thing because it's... So if I go to object and make some changes and save, nothing happens. And that's what I was expecting. So I believe that now if I hit it, should set testing. There you go. So this is working, guys. The solution was to put a slash everything.
Yeah, but that's not good actually.
No, right? Because it's been super slow.
No. So it tries to search every updated file when you give star overall. So there might be like you need to only give the path which basically only represents the files which you are going to change, not everything. I mean, it's like a general practice, but yeah, for now it's working so well and good.
Mm.
Maybe because it compiles again each time.
At least we don't have to manually run it.
Yeah, that's what I said. It works well. Like what you wanted to achieve, you were able to. That's what I'm saying.
So if I add another route, right here I have route help, and then right before this one, I can say and now I can use the fish operator to do to say text this is great. It restarted right away. So this is, I mean, it works.
Yeah.
Just a little slow to compile, you see.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's building, right? So building takes time. So that's what I'm saying. It won't be instantly reflecting. You need to always see your logs, whether whatever change you make it. That's why you shouldn't like. I mean, you make even like the slight change, it will build it. That's
Yeah.
why this building is usually defined in the workflow, like in GitHub, where you when you commit it, that's why they say that you shouldn't commit like even small changes. You need to commit a particular functionality and then
Yeah, yeah.
let it build only once.
I mean, you know what? We could, should we leave both options so the developer can choose which one they want to run with? Because if let me see how fast it is locally. So I'm just gonna do concurrently now. So we have two options. Like if you wanna use Docker, use it. But if not, you can use just this script.
I mean, obviously it would currently run fast, like because it's not building a Docker image takes time.
I can tell.
Yeah, this will definitely be fast. Docker Compose, that's why I said like Docker Compose, you don't usually use locally.
I
You
thought that was the purpose of Docker, like so developers can have the same environment. I thought
so
it was more for development than production. No.
no, so the plus point of Docker is when you have like multiple environments, let's say dev environment, test environment, production, all those environments have like their own specifications, and every environment has its own property files. So the plus point of using Docker is whenever you move into different environments, the all the property files, all the binaries, and all the running configuration of the project are within that Docker image. So it is not dependent on a server. So you can easily move between environments. And that's the
Hmm.
plus
Very
point
well
of Docker.
said.
But you know what? I don't think this is like a huge improvement in speed. Probably my computer is just being slow. You see?
But it's
Probably
why
just
is it
my
still
computer.
building it? Why is it still building it? Because I mean, oh, okay, okay. Oh,
It
okay.
has to refresh. Yeah. So do you see how long it took? I believe it's just my computer
Can
being
you
slow.
can you in the .NET watch command which you are running in the Docker file, can you remove that watch and just run it? Don't remove the watch command in the Docker file. No, not here. In the Docker file. In the
In the
Docker file,
Docker file.
yeah, you're using that watch command, right? Remove that watch
Mhm.
command. Just put Docker
So
.NET.
.NET, but you need to tell .NET what to do because that .NET is just is a
No,
select.
.NET run. I'm saying put .NET run. Don't put watch.
Okay, let's see.
Yeah, just run and then try testing it and see.
That's actually a good idea. Let's try that.
Because your Docker Compose is still watching. So why do you want the .NET to watch?
Yeah, if Docker is watching, then we just need the. However, I know that .NET is gonna keep hosting and run, not watching file changes. But let's see.
Okay.
That was
Yeah.
fast.
Just try testing it.
Let's see. Yeah, let's see now.
I mean, this still doesn't take that long. Even though the rebuild takes a couple seconds, it's still not that long. Most of the time when
It's
I'm
nice.
coding, I'm not going back and looking at the build every minute. You know, I'm usually like coding for 30 minutes and then I make sure everything's still working. You know, you can kind of tell when you're writing code that you know is going to be working in 5 minutes or
No,
10 minutes or
yeah.
15 minutes, and you also could tell when you're working on something new where you're like, I'm gonna have to check this soon just to make sure everything's still working. So
Right.
the fact that it takes a minute, even it doesn't even take a minute,
No,
it takes a few
it,
seconds.
Jim, the thing is that it depends like how big your project is. Now this project is doesn't seem that big, so there's not a lot to build. But if your project grows, the time will keep on increasing.
Exactly. So
You
it
know
might
what,
come to
guys?
the
I
point
believe.
where it becomes inconvenient, you're saying.
I
You know
mean,
what, guys? I believe that is my computer being slow because I can hear the fan like going nuts right now.
okay, okay,
So
probably.
so I believe this is super fast. I mean, just the like it just fast. And you know what? With F sharp, for example, you can build a script file. For example, I can add a script right here and call it like script dot fsx. And what this does is that you can hit Alt Enter, and you're gonna have an interactive F sharp in the terminal. So you don't have to. You can test whatever you want to do. For example, let name equal Ivan, and then you hit Alt Enter, and you see that the thing is in the console now. And now I can just open system, and then I can just um, on, oops, console dot right line name, and then hit oh, because I didn't have open, so you need to Alt Enter here. Now you open the library, and now you can hit this. and you're gonna see that in the console. So if you're trying to like build your functions here first, like doing the API call and everything, you can just hit the API from here, and then once your function is fully tested, just paste it in the routes. So you don't have to be rebuilding all the time. But this is super cool that you can do, for example, a function let print name. It takes the name and then it just console that right line name. Unknown word. Where is it? Oh no, it's just this. Print. A unique overload for method override could not. Blah, 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 blah. Type annotation needed. Actually, you don't even need parentheses in F#. You can just say this is a freaking string.
It is written that F# is usually used for like data manipulation, data science, machine learning.
And what is this stupid thing complaining? Yeah, it's just how simple you can do.
I've used C# actually for a game, so I know like how C# works. It's object oriented. So C# I've used it because C# is object oriented and it's highly used for building like games like Unity engine and all.
Mhm.
So I've used C# but I've never used F#.
I just forgot function. There. I was doing this in my past job. And I don't know, it was just so easy to integrate with the project, and that's why I'm doing in this project right here, because I can.
Yeah, F# is good when
Solution.
you want to build like quick APIs.
So you see now you can just highlight everything, auto add, and now it's gonna do like it tells you the thing, and it prints, it executes the function and everything. But F# like the routing is what got me crazy. Like
Yeah. I didn't get the syntax properly. It's
you can have a sub route, and then you can name it, for example, API v1, and then
does
you
the
can-
indentation matter?
Huh?
Does that indentation matters?
Yeah, indentation is the most important.
I mean, it looks like
Thing, like-
YML actually.
I believe that you just need one sub route. So all you have to do is take this guy and put it right here. And you see, because I don't have the right indentation, what it does. V1, choose, and then you get get and fish operator, and then you choose this, and then you take an array of routes, and then you put health again for V1, and all you have to do is next. I don't know if this is what is. Probably this has to be in the same line. Anyways, I'll take a look at that later. I was just like, you see, this is my web application, entire thing, and I'm putting the path to serve the index HTML in the main path, this is what I'm gonna later on when I build my front end. I will copy everything to a web root folder in the server, and that's what I'm gonna serve the React app in this path instead of that. So then I'm putting all of my routes right here. So I believe that what I was trying to do is, for example, I have get right here, right? So maybe what I could do is after this get file, before this, I can put another route, I believe, like v1, and then do something like that. So the route thing is just nesting, but I'm using a formatter right here, and I have to configure it because this should look like a lot cleaner like this. And instead of this one, usually you have another function, another route handler right here that you can say, like, for example, print health message. And if you want to have that, for example, you just have to say let this one, and then CTX, I believe it's context, and next, and then you can just send the message. JSON, you put the message that I had, message, and I'm using this pipe right here is because I didn't bind a type. If you would have a type, you don't need to strictly say that this is a JSON with this with those two pipes. So I can just say of, actually in F#. It's just the bad thing is that you go back and forth with TypeScript and F#. TypeScript, you will have to mark this as a JSON. In TypeScript, you need to use the equal sign, and then you say next context, CTX. And that will give you functions. So CTX next is taking it right there. CTX is in there. Yeah, there you go. And now it's the same thing that I had before. So every route handler, if you're connected to the database or using asynchronous operation, it's a lot easier to do a lot of middlewares and functions like this, and then just pipe them together. For example, you could have another function that points out to this function that says print my name first, and then you can just print this in your console, or for example with the logging. But all I wanted to do is set up the Docker, and you guys helped me a lot because that thing was eating me alive.
Yeah, no worries.
See, my computer is so frozen. So I'm gonna stop sharing now because I believe that I took the whole night for myself. I'm sorry. Unless that you guys want me to keep going, I don't mind.
Jim, like, you can share your screen if you want.
Yeah. Sorry, Jim, that I took the entire thing.
This has happened before. It'll happen again.
Yeah. Sorry, Jim, that I took the entire.
You're good, man. That's interesting to see. I haven't looked at Docker in a really long time, so it's nice to see all this stuff, man. And I was thinking anyways that for the, like, you have a project you're working on that obviously you want people helping you out on. The README is going to be powerful for that, you know, people who are at bare minimum intermediate developers. who are in the habit of reading readmes and documentation and that sort of thing. But for the people who aren't, I think it'd be good just to have like a face to face, like you explain the project to people maybe once a week or something on a regular basis, just so, like a quick like 5-minute recap, 5-10 minute recap of the project, just for other people who want to get involved. Not just you,
Oh,
but
yeah.
like anyone who's working on a project, because I plan on doing that. I do that almost every night. That might be even too much, you know. So maybe we could just have like one night where maybe Monday nights where we kind of like recap the projects we're working on this week, and then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday is the nights we actually break out and work on stuff. We'll see. But that's cool, man. That's cool. It looks like we Ian, you're new, right? Hey. I don't know if you're new to Discord. If you just unmute your microphone on the bottom left. Hey. I see you unmuted. I just still can't hear you. Oh, I hear you a little bit. And John, I think we were chatting earlier. I think you're the one that I helped out, but this is your first time coming to the peer programming?
I think it is my second time.
Okay. Nice, cool. Welcome
But
back.
the first one, I didn't have a microphone.
Oh, okay. Oh, yep. Gotcha. Okay, cool. All right, cool. So I know I showed you the project that I'm going to be working on this week. I want to have this thing deployed by the end of the week, just as like a centralized location for all the projects. Like a user-friendly visual representation of the projects to kind of like help people find the projects, you know, give people the scoop without actually seeing the code, but actually give them channels to the code as well, and channels to the app in production when it is in production. So Ivan, if you want to add that, feel free to send me the information required for your project. I'm pretty sure everything, the technology stack you're using is F#, .NET, and Next, right?
I'm using React front end and .NET F# in the back end.
Oh, yep. Okay.
And yes, a TypeScript with React TypeScript.
Okay.
If you want to add that, I'm using Vite, but Vite is just a compiler, you know. I don't think we need to put Vite.
Yeah. Yeah, so we basically have the gist of that project, so that's cool. I could go ahead and add that. I'm gonna share the link with everyone when I deploy this here. And then yeah, we'll go from there, man. Cool. Alright, so I'll be back on tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Feel free to join me. And feel free to reach out anytime. I'm basically coding at least half the day. So I'm periodically checking Discord, checking in, updating, all that sort of thing. So feel free to hit me up anytime.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, peace out, everyone.